where you're from.
Cass Blanchard, New Orleans.
Good morning. Good to have, man, Louisiana strong this morning. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. We'll go ahead and get started there, guys. Good morning to all you difference makers out there, chief expansion officers of your own companies. Welcome to our Difference Makers morning call, embracing all lines of sponsorship within our Nagic family. We are grateful for this call, started by our dear friend and biggest difference maker, Sam Michaels, for the purpose of encouraging us to believe in ourselves and to build a successful Nagic business. The thoughts, ideas, and expressions on this call are by third-party, independent Nagic distributors. They are not the views of Nagic USA. For a complete list of rules and compliance matters, please visit enagic.com. Remember, whatever is said pertaining to Kangen water must not be taken as a health or medical claim. We make no such claims. Kangen water does not treat, diagnose, or cure anything. Bodies heal themselves when given the proper tools, and Kangen water simply empowers the immune system, helps the body to remove acid waste, reduce oxidation on a cellular level, and assist the body to do what it's intended to do, which is heal itself. And guys, with that, like I said, Sam is on his way to one of the doctors this morning, and so I pulled up a little bit of Jim Rohn. Let's talk a little bit about 8 ways to master the art of communication. And trust me, guys, this is going to tie into one of the most precious people that we have on our call each and every month. And man, Lynn Gardner is the most artful of communication that we have. I believe she is one of the top. So I know this is going to tie right into today's call. This is going to be wonderful. All right, guys, the art of communication. I like that phrase because communicating is an art. When we're attempting to get our message out to others, it's as though we start with a giant blank canvas, and we then begin to paint a picture, any picture we desire. Now, most people assume that when painting a picture, they have only a few basic brushes at their disposal. But the advanced artist knows there are many tools available to create their masterpiece, and they use each to their advantage. The same is true with communication. There are many tools available to you as you communicate. You just have to be aware of them, then use them purposefully. The better you become at using these tools, the better you'll be at communicating. The 2 primary categories these tools fall into are verbal and nonverbal. Let's look at the different ways you can use each to improve your ability to communicate. First, let's start off with verbal communication. Number 1, your words. It's been said that people judge you by the words you use, and this is true. Choose your words wisely. Words have power. They have the power to move nations, and they have the power to destroy as well. When you speak, use your words carefully. Here are a few things to consider in regard to your words. Avoid using words that will cause the other person to think poorly of you. Slang is one example. Another is, of course, slurs of any type. Use words to communicate positive values. Use optimistic words, words of strength. Make sure they are understandable. Point 2, use words that are colorful and rich with meaning, as long as they can be understood by the listener. Number 2, your vocabulary. An expanded vocabulary will set you apart. It enhances the communication process and draws others in. Your vocabulary can reveal to others how educated you are, and others may make judgments about you that can affect your opportunities with them. The best communicators will use an expanded vocabulary and with more educated groups, and the more basic vocabulary with less educated groups. Just as important as what you say is how you say it. What tone are you using? When you speak, are you monotone, or do you move the tone of your voice, changing it up? This will naturally help people follow what you're saying. Changing the tone of your voice is a very effective way to draw people into your message. Imagine if a painter only used one color. We want lots of color and lots of tone. Along with the words you use and your tone, consider your pace. Sometimes when you speak, you may need to go slowly, and sometimes you may need to go very fast. The speed with which you speak will tell others certain things. A fast pace will communicate that you're excited about something. A slow pace usually communicates thoughtfulness and or that you really want them to hear your point. Choosing your pace is also like using your volume in an effective way. Master communicators will draw their audience in by fluctuating their voice from very loud to near whisper. The audience doesn't even know that the speaker is taking them on a roller coaster ride of communication. There are lessons to be learned here. Even in a one-on-one conversation, we can shift and change volume, keeping our communication more effective. Number 3, emotion. The emotions you communicate while speaking are vital. Wow. The emotions you communicate while speaking are vital. The key here is to show emotion without getting emotional. Emotions can be a very effective communicator. For example, showing anger can communicate that you are very serious about something, as long as you don't get angry often. Allowing yourself to cry can show a side of you to others that communicates that you are a person of passion who, while being a hard-charging person who desires success, also has a tender side. Allowing yourself to laugh will communicate that you have a fun side and do not take yourself too seriously. Emotion, if controlled, is a powerful communicator. Do you speak clear? Number 4, communication. Do you speak clearly so people can understand you? Communication is often overlooked key to effective communication. It's imperative to clearly communicate our words, so that the people understand us. Clear communication gives us a little punch to our communication. Work on communicating your words clearly. The key is to get it just right. Communicating is so that your words don't run together, but not over-communicating so you don't sound unnatural. In all these principles, the idea is variety. Anytime we communicate in a single way, we become predictable and people stop listening. Think of yourself. Do you like to listen to people who speak at one speed, in one tone, with a boring vocabulary, and without emotion? Of course not. Then we should make every effort to be colorful and effective communicators. And we can be if we work at it and practice. Okay, nonverbal communication. What you say affects how you communicate, certainly, but just as important is what you don't say. Yes, your nonverbal communication has a major impact on how well you communicate. Have you ever given much thought to how you communicate nonverbally? Here are some thoughts on ways to use nonverbal communication to support what you're saying verbally. This is number 5, your hands. Keeping your hands by your side will make you seem stiff and uncomfortable. Instead, use your hands to communicate. Now, don't get too demonstrative to the point where people are wondering what your hands are going to do next. One way to see what you do nonverbally is to record yourself speaking. Watch what you do with your hands. Number 6, your eyes. The eyes can be a very powerful tool in communication. You know the old saying, the eyes are the window to your soul. It's true. Think of what a mother communicates to a newborn when she gazes in their eyes, or what a couple says without words when they look into each other's eyes. The eyes speak volumes. Have you spoken with someone who is consistently looking around, constantly looking around? What does that communicate? A lack of interest in what you have to say. When you speak to someone, look at them. Give them your attention with your eyes. Listen to them with your eyes. Communicate with them that they are important. Your arms, number 7, your arms. Some people don't even realize when they're closed off to someone else by crossing their arms when the other person is speaking. Those who study this tell us that crossing of arms is a surefire way to close yourself off from the other person. It communicates closure, fear, and opposition. Number 8, speaking position. When you're communicating, especially in a presentation situation, your speaking position, whether you are standing, sitting, kneeling, etc., can communicate a lot. For example, my good friend Zig Ziglar, a master of the stage, will frequently move to the front of the stage and kneel. What is he non-verbally communicating? He is saying, listen closely to this. This is really important. He is bringing the audience to an innate moment. Even in a room of 1,000 people, this way of communicating can make every individual feel like Zig is speaking closely to them. Sitting communicates casualness. I know many speakers will give a considerable part of their presentation this way. John Maxwell, another friend of mine, and a world-class leadership expert, gives quite a bit of his speeches while sitting. His style is informative and casual, and it's effective. Guys, just great tips. Jim Rohn is absolutely amazing and is huge effect in my life. I have followed Jim Rohn and Jim Rohn's things for years and years and years, and he is just one of the most positive speakers I've ever known, and to sit and listen to him. But I'll tell you who runs a tight second right here is Miss Lynn Gardner. Miss Lynn Gardner, guys, coming from her farm in Virginia, has been a piece of my month every month. I look forward to this morning, each and every morning, and so do my children, my family, and so do my friends. And so, Miss Lynn, without any further ado, good morning, Miss Lynn. How are you doing this morning?
Well, good morning. I couldn't be any better. Thanks, Wade, and yourself. It's so great to be here with you today, and you always make me blush before I can. I don't know if you're trying to throw me off or what, but thank you for your kind words. What a blessing you are to me. It's great to be with you guys. It's hard to believe it's been another month, right? I mean, in some ways, again, it seems like yesterday, and then in other ways, I look at it and say, oh, my goodness, this year is almost gone. Here we are in the last quarter of the year, and lots have happened since I've last with you guys. My son and his wife welcomed a baby boy just 5 days ago. It makes number 4 grandchild for me, 2 boys, 2 girls, all 6 and under. That kind of reminds me of what my life was like. I'm having 4, 6 and under, but he's healthy. And he was a strapping 9 pounds 6 ounces. Judah Matthew, welcome to the world. And then the week before that, the power team came out of Louisiana. You say, well, Louisiana's strong on the phone today, and that doesn't surprise me because there's so much passion and love and drive that's been coming out of Louisiana to this farm in Virginia that you could never even begin to imagine unless you saw it with your own eyes. This team of men, we had Earl Stevens, Regis Stevens, we had Ricky Allagood and Alvin Joffrey come up here, and, these men just came up selflessly, a couple 1,000-mile round trip to be here, to volunteer, to help achieve what God has in mind. Wow, wow, wow. It just blows the mind. We're going to have skill set training here at the farm like you've never heard before, in this, at least in our business, I can tell you that. And we're even going to teach attendees, believe it or not, how to make a home hydroponic system so we all live better, not just with our water, but with our food. The event is loaded with life-changing topics. But if you really want to experience a change in you, in your business, in your life, then you need to be here to see what it looks like when people of faith come together, when people receive a swift kick from God to do a job, to accomplish a goal. If you really want to see the essence of a Enagic and who we are and what it looks like, you'll be here no matter what it takes. There's a time and a place for photos and autographs, at events, and I'm not judging that, right? There's a time and a place for the glitz and the glory and to take the pictures and who you got to meet. And then there's a time and a place for boots on the ground training. Only you can decide which one of those is more important to you. If you'd like to join us, go to livingwatersfarmevent.com and read more about it, and hopefully you'll register. But, you'll see also a write-up of these 4 champions that came here to help achieve this goal for you and for God. You know, I was helping a friend out recently, and, you know, I was helping her rewrite her resume. And that's not an easy task. I don't know if you've ever really seriously, you know, tackled a resume, but, you know, it's expected that it not be too long. You can't write a book, right? There are kind of guidelines that people look for and how lengthy it is. And you got to try to condense out, you know, down the finer points into just a very small space, right? It's not easy to do. That's not an easy to task when you think about it. I found myself thinking about this person. I know her very well, and I was thinking about some of her accomplishments in life, big ones, right? Big ones that I brag about, you know, as a friend. And I was trying to figure out a way to condense some of those big, you know, achievements into this small message to squeeze in some pretty incredible things. But all those life achievements really have no place at all on a resume, do they? You know, as I was working on a resume, I considered her major accomplishments, you know, resume worthy, if you will, and I started thinking about some people in the Bible. You know, what makes these people, you know, these strong, wonderful people, accomplished people in the Bible, you know? And I was definitely chasing a rabbit, no doubt about that. But the more I read, the more I realized that what made all those great people wasn't practical experience necessarily at all. Usually it was some huge life experience, a high-risk moment, if you will, an accomplishment fueled by God, a God moment that propelled them into action and got them in the book. Eventually, I found my way to a man that doesn't have a whole lot of mention in the Bible. A lot of people, you know, may never have even heard his name. In fact, he's just talked about in 2 verses in the Bible, and his name was Benaiah, and he actually became the head bodyguard for King David. Why? Because within just those 2 verses, we hear of his accomplishments as a warrior. It says that he had many heroic deeds. It names a few, but it also says including chasing a lion down into a pit. Then, despite the snow and the slippery ground, he caught the lion and he killed it. Now, I understand that, you know, some of you on the phone hearing the account of killing an animal is very troubling to you. But you have to consider, you know, when we're talking about here, the hungry lion in a desolate land, you know, was a whole lot more troubling to David and his army, you know, than other warriors. A lion was a predator, and it was so fast and furious, and they just couldn't be allowed, right? So we're not talking about cold killing on a safari here. We're talking about life or death and survival. But I don't want to focus on the act of killing. I want to focus on how that one step launched Benaiah to a place of accomplishment, the main bodyguard for King David. Nothing on his resume defined his potential to make it there, that's for sure. There is an account of his accomplishments as a warrior. Again, that includes, you know, killing some people, right? But the most compelling experience is the one with the lion. After all, not everybody will be willing and bold enough to jump into a pit knowing there's a lion in there, right, to take it on. We don't have enough details to determine all the hows and the whys of that lion moment, but we do have a few things to consider to help paint the picture. We know that lions are much faster runners than men are. We know that this lion probably outweighed a man like Benaiah 3 or 4 times over. We know that the lion's natural place would be in a dark pit, right? Their eyesight is superior in the darkness over man, that's for sure. And I'm sure Benaiah didn't have a lion-worthy weapon. You know, he probably had a sword. And I'm also pretty sure that because all the odds were against him, that he was scared. But it was that moment, the scariest moment in a den with a lion, that defined him to be written about and propelled him to be the bodyguard for King David, a place of honor. So many times in our lives, you know, we take those scariest times, the ones that tax our last nerve, the ones that keep us pacing the floor at night, the ones that drive us to our knees, you know, and we focus on the circumstances instead of seeing the resume building that's going on in the background. You know, we can get an education, learn a skill or a trade, go off to work for someone else, and after we've sold them on paper, of course, right? But the most important experience that we ever get comes straight from the hand of God in those lion moments in life. You know, God writes the chapters of our life. You know, every single chapter is no surprise to him. He wrote it. God is in the resume building business, and he's always using past experiences to prepare us for future opportunities. But those God-given opportunities come with the biggest, scariest times of our lives, just like Benaiah facing a lion in a den. It's how we react when we encounter those lions that will determine the ultimate destiny. You know, we can cower down in fear. That's certainly human nature. and we can run away from the greatest challenges. Put putting your head in the sand or hiding under the bed, or we can chase our God-ordained destiny by seizing the God-ordained opportunities. I wonder what life would look like, and I wonder about the greatness that we would see in the world if all of us took those biggest challenges, our lion moments, right, in the pit with the lion, those times when we were alone in that den, challenges that were bigger than our human solutions. What if we wrote our resume based on the experiences that built our skills instead of hiding the past or whining about the journey that it took to get here in the first place? When I look at my journey, like a Monday morning quarterback, of course, I see the biggest risk, the times that I had to decide, am I going to jump in the den with a lion or am I going to run like a wussy? They were my greatest opportunities. Some of the decisions, again, do I jump in or run off, were life-altering, nerve-wracking decisions. They weren't easy, but it was in those moments that I came alive. They were the moments in my life when God set the stage for me, who I am and what I'll accomplish. Those were the moments that changed the trajectory of my entire life. Anybody can pick and choose the easy route in life. It doesn't take much to do that, does it? Benaiah could have stayed on track as a warrior, and he was certainly successful that way, focusing only on men. He could have decided to let that lion prowl around their camp and devour the troops up, He could have wussied out and gone home. And he could have said, you know what, it's not in my job description, like so many people on this phone have said at some point in their life. But instead, he took a risk, a huge one, and that one major accomplishment set him apart for all the rest of the things in life. There is an old saying that goes like this, no guts, no glory. We've all heard that one before, right? Well, when we don't have the guts to step out in faith and chase the lions, when God is being robbed of the glory that rightfully belongs to him. He's put us in that situation. He allows these things to happen. He allows us to face the lions, and he can only be glorified if we face them. You see, the resume builder likes to see excellence in his resume, on the resume of his team, and he'll set the scene that allows us to achieve greatness if we're willing to step into the pit with the lions. When I look at my biggest achievements, I see finding the boldness to step into the den with the lion prepared me for the greatness in my own right. A tumultuous childhood, for instance, prepared me to have the endurance and the drive, if you will, to raise 4 children as a single mom. And the end result is mind-blowing when you consider the odds of a single mother raising 4, kids that end up being stable, hardworking, loving, godly people. A life that tested my every nerve and one that forced me to look out into the future as far as I could possibly see because I was so scared of what was coming next, right? But that set me in motion with perception and discernment, and it prepared me to be very successful, strategic businesswoman. Countless miracles and hundreds of hard knocks gave me what it takes to take on this farm project. And believe me, this event is spectacular, but everything around it, including the barn expansion, is what it looks like to be willing to step into the pit with the lion. It's not easy, right? It's taxing and it's trying and it's scary, but it's a matter of whether I'm willing to step into the pit and do what I know I'm supposed to do or run like a wussy. Sometimes I'm working against other people in our industry. Sometimes it's, criticism over, the silly faith-based event or whatever. I think we're just sitting around the campfire singing Kumbaya or something. I'm not sure what they think. Sometimes I'm working against other events. More importantly, this one won't get promoted by the company at all because it is faith-based, right? I work against the criticism and the judgment and the gossip and all those things, surrounding my faith because I'm a bold warrior, and none of it is easy to bear, rest assured. But the resume builder prepared me for such a time as this. Using those times, I've been willing to jump into the pit, those high-risk situations, right, when I know there's a lion in there and I know I have to jump in if I want to see victory. That was my foundation. There's a pretty simple definition of success when you think about it. It doesn't have a whole lot to do with resume writing or practical skills that you already have, right? It's doing the best you can with where you are, where you are. It's doing the very best. In essence, it's making the most out of every opportunity. When we reach maturity, spiritually and otherwise, a maturity is seeing and seizing God-ordained opportunities. It takes maturity to do that. You know, it's when we live like a child, we think like a child, that we're faced with adversity and we run like babies. But when we're mature, we understand that we're seizing God-ordained opportunities. Imagine if the whole world would think of every opportunity as God's gift to us. I said every opportunity, okay? Not just the sweet ones we like to thank him for, but what about all those lion moments, you know? If we could look at all of them as an opportunity, as every one of them as an opportunity and as God's gift to us. What we do with those opportunities, those high-risk moments with the lions and everything in between, that's our gift to God. Lion chasers don't run. They grab life by the mane. You know, Benaiah went on to have a brilliant military career. In fact, he climbed all the way to the top, became the commander-in-chief of Israel's army, but it all began with what most people would consider being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Everything he became could be traced back to that moment in the pit with the lion, the life or death encounter. It was fight or flight, right? I sure don't know the unique circumstances of the lives of the callers here today, but I'm pretty sure that you've all encountered some lions. Maybe you're encountering right now. I'm pretty sure that most of you have fallen into some pits, you know, and I'm pretty sure that everybody has weathered a few snowy days. But it's a God-sized dream that scares the daylights out of you, like this business, you know, that many of you keep prepared to do, but you never really do. Maybe it's that God-sized dream that actually scares you, the dream itself. Maybe you're dealing with a bad habit or a bad decision that forced you into a pit, and you can't figure out how to get out of it because you're not fighting that lion. Or maybe there's a cloud of self-doubt, you know, that's casting a dark shadow over you and your future, and you just don't believe that the greatness is possible for you. No matter what you're going through or what you've been through, you need skills that will help you climb out of the slipperiest of pits so that you can chase the biggest lions. Some of those skills come naturally, you know, for certain personality types. You know, if you're optimistic by nature, overcoming adversity will come a little easier for you than it does for others. But if you tend to be pessimistic, it's going to require that, you know, you be more intent in order to position yourself with skills to fight the lions. You know, some skills will be hard and some will feel actually even unnatural, like unlearning fears and embracing uncertainty. How many people volunteer to embrace uncertainty, right? But like Benaiah, the courage to swim will keep you where God wants you to be. We've got to stay in the current of God. Some kills are calculated risks or seized opportunities. You know, we develop those skills until they become habitual. Actually, you know, it's practice. It's a lot like the greatest salesman of reading the scrolls. You know, it's a calculated thing. You be sure to take that on. You be sure to develop those skills so you can look at the calculated risks and seizing opportunities. For your life and for your business, I want you to remember just a few things. Number one, God is in the business of strategically positioning us in the right place at the right time. I don't care how much you want to look down into that pit and see a lion there and say, well, I must be in the wrong direction. It must not be right. Why would I have to face a lion? Why does it have to be so hard? It just does, okay? He's in the business of strategically positioning us in the right place at the right time. But the right place often seems like the wrong place, and the right time often seems like the wrong time. Goodness is not goodness is not the absence of bad. You know, you can do nothing wrong and still do nothing right. And a lot of people live their lives that way, right? They don't do anything wrong, but don't do anything right. You know, do you do your business that way? Well, I don't really mess up, but I don't really do anything, right? So you can do nothing wrong and still do nothing right. Our calling is much higher than simply running away from what's wrong, okay? We're called to chase the lions. And so look for opportunities in our problems. We look for opportunities in our adversities, in our obstacles, and we're willing to take risks to reach for God's best, even if it means crawling into that pit with a lion. When we don't have the guts to step out in faith and chase lions, then God's robbed of the glory that belongs to him. And number 4 is maturing, is seizing the God-sized opportunity. Each one of us, whether you can believe it and find it within your own soul this very moment or not, rest assured, each one of us was created for greatness. Why would we settle for less and look at life as more of a burden instead of an opportunity to build that resume for greatness? But greatness requires that we take risk, that we're willing to take on those lions and that we're forever, chasing and running toward our accomplishments. The $64 question is, do you wuss out and run in the other direction when you face a lion? When you have to make a decision, do I jump in that pit and take on that lion knowing I'm already equipped to do the job right? Or do we understand that the moments were ordained by the hand of God? Do we which way do we go? Do we run into that pit and fight? Do we understand that that's an ordained moment? It's kind of funny to me when I consider my life and how scary it is sometimes to jump into that pit with a lion. People comment often on my guts. They'll say, "Oh my gosh, you just got guts like there's no." I'm not brave at all, guys. I'm just confident that I've already been equipped for greatness, and I'm confident that my resume is being built by the ultimate resume builder. I work on myself every day to become the best version of me that I can be. Of course I'm going to succeed in business. Why would I not? Because, I'm focused on making myself better. It's not because I'm insane enough to jump into a pit with a lion that I'll be successful, but because I understand those pit risks are vital to being all that I can be. They define me, and they glorify my God. People will often comment on the adversity I face, over and over. My goodness, big circumstances with what seemingly look like, impossible challenges. But I'm not stronger than anybody else. Believe me, I'm just confident that God is forever building my resume. And I know that I don't face all those lions because he doesn't love me. I face those lions because he does. And he knows I'm going to be brave enough to step into that pit. I'm going to take on the lion and win. And you know what? Each and every time I take one and win, I become more of a usable vessel for him. Every step of this crazy life has prepared me for this wonderful journey. But it all required that I step into that pit with a lion on a snowy day. It requires risks and trusting God and never allowing myself to forget that I'm royalty and I'm destined for greatness. Do you let yourself forget that? Do you underestimate who you are? In the human sense, I'm so far over my head with this farm expansion project, it isn't even funny. If you just look at the outward, you look at the human sense, it's ridiculous, right? After I'm a single woman on this farm, I'm not afraid to do hard work, but believe me, most of what has to be done is so far beyond me. It takes financial resources. Some I have, some I don't have. People are helping us in that area, right? It takes time, lots of time, and it takes lots of planning, and it takes a whole lot of faith. But God is building my resume through the process. And the details surrounding this project, that will blow your mind and encourage your heart like nothing you could ever begin to imagine. As you see, all I did was jump into the pit with the lion, and God's bringing all the help that I need. It's not easy, and it's not fun to jump in that pit with the lion. But it's the pit and the lion that will define us, and it's the risk that we take that will grow us into greatness. So, are you taking risk in your life, or do you like to just have a low key? I don't want any drama. I don't ever want to face any problem. Are you that way in your business? I don't really want to do that. Somebody might reject me. I don't want to do that. It's really hard. I hear it with this event. Here we have people that have the heart that right, and they're 2,000-mile round trip. 4 men came here and worked like dogs. There was nothing that would stand in their way. But then with the event, we'll hear people say, "Oh, I don't know. It's like 200 miles away, and it would take a lot to do that." And you could jump into that pit with the lion and take it on. I'm in a pit with it, so we have to do that. We have to once in a while take those risks, right? But that's when we see greatness. The one thing is when we're faced with that lion over an event or anything else in your business, we need to decide, are we going to jump into the pit with the lion and take it on, or are we going to run like wussies for the rest of our lives? when I hear judgment over a faith-based event, for instance, like this, I'll face that lion head on. And when I've heard that project can't be completed in time, are you crazy? How are you going to move walls? And yeah, I wish you could be eyewitness. It already took place, right? But when I hear those things, I don't take on that. I don't accept that. I just keep jumping in that pit with the lion and take it on. God is building my resume, and God wants to build your resume too. You are destined for greatness in the business, in your life, in your relationships, in your faith, in every single way. But wussies can't accomplish that goal. It does take taking some risks. It does take looking at outward circumstances that look like they're impossible and being willing to step into that pit with the lion and taking it on. Because I'm letting God build my resume, I'm unstoppable. I can tell you that. It's not because I'm special. There is nothing special about me. I think the Bible says there's no good thing in me apart from Him. There's nothing here that's special. I'm just willing, and I'm willing to jump into that pit. It's not because I have something nobody else has. It's not because I'm brave. I'm no braver than anybody else. I'm the biggest wuss, right? But it's because I'm willing to let Him build my resume, and I'm willing to jump into a snowy pit and fight for my destiny. So the question is, how about you? No doubt people are struggling with things. No doubt people are struggling with changes going on in our business, or maybe you're struggling with, oh my gosh, the year's ending and I didn't accomplish what I wanted to accomplish, or maybe you've got things in the way of allowing you to work the way you think you need to work to be successful. But I'm telling you, 99% of the battle is being able to look at circumstances as opportunities and to understand adversity as a chance to build your resume so you can be a champion. And once you have that attitude adjustment, all this rest is just detail. You can do it. I believe in you, and I know you can. So if you're struggling today, I hope you're going to think about, as you face these situations in life that will define you, that will push you to greatness, that will push you to success. I want you to think about there being a lion in that pit. And do you have the nerve to jump into that pit with the lion, knowing that God's building your resume, or are you going to cop out and never become all that you can be in your business and in every way of your life? So, guys, be bold, okay? And that's my message for you today.
Wow. Guys, man, Lynn, that's so good. Are you a lion chaser or not? I love that. What a great deal. And who's building your resume with you? Who's working your resume with you? Is it God? Is it the Lord? Man, Lynn, you bring so much to this call. This day of the month that you present, I wish it was every day, and this day was, it is.
Thank you, Wade. You're so sweet.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
honey. Yeah, I appreciate you so much. All right, difference makers, listen, if you guys have a question, a comment, let's hit star 2, raise your hand, take yourself off speaker, take yourself off mute. We got Lynn here for another 10, 20 minutes. I want to just chat a little bit, fireside kind of chat. Let's go to Doc. Hey, Doc, how are you this morning? Doc Holliday.
Good morning, difference makers, and wow, I just want to say to Lynn, amen to Jesus. You are commendable. My wife is an evangelist, and I'm just her sidekick. And every day we give glory to God and know that He is waking us up every morning, and we have no complaints. And that's my testimony to you and to all the difference makers. God bless you all.
Thank you so much. God bless you, too. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks, Doc. All right, let's go to our buddy Michael. Good morning, Mike. How are you this morning?
Hey, Wade. It's great. Miss Lynn, as always, this was another one of those days where you smacked me right between the eyes. And I just want to thank you for that. Sometimes you do. You let circumstances kind of jump up and bite you in the neck. And and then you're trying to figure out which way to go. And you're just incredible, absolutely incredible. And for some reason, I don't know how you do it, but you always have just the right thing to say, and that means so much. So thank you so very much.
Oh, thank you. What a blessing you are to me. And, that's all a God thing. I never know what I'm going to talk about. I never know what Wade's going to share, Sam's going to share. So when things thread together, it's always for a purpose. But you're right. People, we face these circumstances, and we can work in the flesh and look at them and say, well, they're insurmountable. It's just crazy. In fact, some of you might be thinking, that woman's crazy. She doesn't know about my life. Rest assured, you don't want to know about mine, okay? We all face these things. But when we face them and just say, I'm unstoppable, I'm not going to do that. Some people are wanting to be at the event. They're saying, I don't have the money, or we're trying to save the money, or we're trying to make it happen. You know what, guys? Things don't just happen. You make them happen. You jump into the pit with the lion, you take it on, and you see victory. And so thank you for your words this morning. You're an encouragement to me, Michael.
Well, thank you, Miss Lynn. As always, you're just incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Thank you. Thank you. It's all God. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, let's go to our friend Sandra in Texas. Good morning, Sandra.
Hi, I love that. That's so inspiring, and I'm going to use it with others that need that little boost. I've always tried to face the lions, but I also have had the experience that I avoided them. And when I do that, when I've done it in the past, not lately, but I always get worse results avoiding the lions than if I just jump in, face it, and it's just that way. I was at the airport, my car wouldn't start. Then later it had a blowout, and this is a good car, but the night was not the right. But I faced those, and because I began to realize that my daughter on the phone could not help me, I was going to have to figure that out. Why that's minor to some people, it's not to be out at midnight in a town you don't know. So that's something that I've seen, that it's up to me if it's going to be. Mm-hmm. And if people realize it and take that step and quit waiting for someone else to save them, they would be much faster on the fast track.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's the funny human nature is to blame somebody else and wait for somebody else, isn't it? I'm miserable because of you. And when are you going to do something about it? It's human nature. So we do have to fight against what feels like the norm to do what
I think
is right.
My biggest thing is, even though I've always from tiny on had to face it, I had an alcoholic dad and a mother on drugs, but I didn't. My biggest thing always, I wanted someone to take care of me. Well, I found out, guess what? That's not going to completely, I might find I have a helper, yes, but no one's going to completely take care of me. So right. I thought, might as well keep facing those lions.
That's exactly right, because, the resume builder's taking care of you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, he is, and I feel very in depth at times when I didn't know actually what I was going to do. He worked. God helped me work it out, because that's the only way that it could have worked out at many a times, and I do give him that credit. And I'm glad that I trusted. You have to come to trust, because you're fearful when you're falling off that slope. And you right. don't always think, well, God first, but he still has to be first.
Right. Exactly. And he's always got to be the solution. I've gotten myself in the biggest messes in my life, and trying to take not the lion on, but the bull by the horns and say, I can fix this. No. I can't fix anything. So, those are hard lessons when we live that way. But, and, for people, obviously for their faith, but also for your business out there, guys, a lot of people not just want to build this business, they need to build this business. They need to restore their finances. Guys, you got to start looking at life in a different way, because whatever you're looking at and blaming for why you're not getting where you want to be, you need to be willing to take that risk and jump in the line. And jump in the pit with the lion. You got to be willing to. Otherwise, you'll never get there. Right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Never.
So
never. You. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's right. I love that. But not only are you willing to face the lion, but are you willing to chase the lion? Right?
Right.
I mean, because there's one thing when you're backed up in a corner, when you're in that pit, but are you willing to chase that lion into that pit and
exactly.
take it on?
Right.
That's
chase
awesome.
it.
That's right. I love that. So good. All right, let's go to our friend Deborah. Hey, good morning, Deborah in Ohio.
Good morning, difference makers.
Good morning.
Lynn, I just appreciate you talking about the resume writer. I'm at home today in my pit. I'm at home today in bed. My dentist keeps calling me while this is going on. I keep closing that call out because I don't want to miss what you guys are saying. And the dentist and have some oral surgery done, and I've been putting it off, and I'm like, I'm going to jump into this pit today and start the procedures to get this behind me. And I just appreciate you speaking about the pit. You know, I'm like a real high energy, always Miss Positive. That's what one of the CEOs calls me at Case Western Reserve. Oh, here comes Miss Positive. And today, I just wasn't feeling it. And a lot of things just wasn't accomplished the way I wanted them to be. I said, I'm just going to stay in bed and call the dentist. And I appreciate you so much this morning talking about the farm. And I didn't get the phone number to the farm. I did get the email or something, but sometimes I'm just not as savvy as I need to be on the computer and the phone. And, I just sometimes like to pick up the phone and just dial a number and talk.
Right.
I appreciate you. I know that I am a winner. I know that I'm royalty. I know that my dad is the king, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And I know these things. And to walk in it and know that you know what you know is doing it in the pit for me.
It is, and chasing that lion, like Wade said, it's a willing, it's a willing act of, I'm willing to chase that lion into that pit.
Yeah.
You know, not like living life like, well, I hope I don't see a lion today. Oh my goodness, I hope I don't see a lion. But when you see it, when you see those obstacles, to be willing to chase that lion into the pit, that's the only way we can see greatness. And it takes risk.
Yeah.
It takes a whole lot of faith, right? It's a lot of risk.
Yeah, who
it's
wants
a lot of
full surgery? I mean, I'm a small person, and most of my teeth are in my jawbone, so it's going to be a deep go into the jawbone and pull this thing out. And I'm like, oh, do I really want to do this? I've done 3 already in the last 10 years, 15 years, and now I need to do this very last one that I keep putting off. And I'm doing.
But see, you're looking at the lion. And you're saying, oh, my gosh, it's so big, and look at its nails, and look how big its teeth are, and it outweighs me 3 to 4 times, and it's faster, and it can see it. You're looking at the lion and and defining what it looks like. It's all the way into my jawbone. I've already done this before. It's this and that. Instead of looking at, I don't care what it is. I have the power and the strength to get through whatever it is, so I'm going to chase that thing down and get it out of the way.
Okay.
And once it's out of your way, it's out of your way.
Right.
But when you focus on the lion itself, not on the circumstances that are building your resume, you focus on the lion. Oh, my goodness, too scary. Nobody going to go in there. Nobody. Right?
Thank you so much for bringing the report of the king. So whose report am I going to believe? I'm going to believe this is a done deal. It's already done, and I'll be talking to even more people.
That's right.
About this wonderful.
That's right. Well, I wish you well. Thanks for your comments.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Deborah. All right, let's go to our friend Charlene. Hey, Charlene, how are you this morning?
Oh, good morning. I am wonderful, and I'm so glad to finally hear Lynn. I've heard so much good about you. This is so exciting. Well, about these challenges, the resume writer, our Father God, and Jesus, Holy Spirit, will bring that around again. If we don't face that challenge and step out in faith and trust God, we will see it again, and it'll be less fun. Trust me, I've been there, done that.
Yes.
We just need to do it and not quit. This business is so God. And I learned so much every day on these calls. The first 2 weeks I listened to the calls, I could hardly breathe because I was sobbing. It was like the family that I always wished that I'd had, giving me the knowledge and ways to deal with things that I've always needed and not had. And also, there's no such thing as a stupid question. We all learn from the questions that people ask, and it's just really, really important. And I'm just so glad I'm in the business and just so glad that you all are too and help me. I appreciate you. God bless you all.
Well, appreciate you too. And, when we really embrace that journey, we understand that, this call isn't by accident, right? The business, you being introduced to the business was no accident. You making your way to the call is no accident. Me being on here today is no accident. None of it's an accident. So how exciting is it when you look at the journey like that, and then you're going to face it every once in a while. You're going to have to say, okay, darn it, I'm just going to have to jump in that stinking pit and face that lion again. But how exciting is it when you think about how every step is just going to make the journey better, right?
Absolutely.
Doesn't make it worse.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. That's powerful.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Charlene. It's awesome to have you on here this morning. All right, let's go to Nan. Hey, Nan, how are you this morning?
Hi, this is Nana. Okay, thank you, Lynn. Our Father is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. I wrote it down to make sure I didn't get it, and I still got it wrong. I just say Happy New Year to our interfaith family of the Jewish faith, Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah.
That's good. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Nana. All right. Well, so listen, Miss Lynn, you got an event coming up, and geez, it's about 25 days away. It's getting very, very soon.
Yeah. Don't paint that picture for me, all right? Because I'll start focusing on a lion. Yeah, we do. We're very, very, very excited. Can't begin to tell you, but here we are, and we know we have adversity. I know we're not faced with all this, rain that's coming in from the hurricane front, just to thwart these plans. But boy, it makes it challenging, doesn't it? And so we got to keep moving forward. The barn is just looking so, you can't even imagine. It's just so beautiful, and it's going to be such a wonderful facility. And Earl Stevens says that, he said, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, I just am so appreciate my part in making a place where we can gather together and we can laugh and we can cry and we can sing and we can glorify God. I mean, how amazing is it to think that the people are coming together for that? So that's really, really cool. We've got some surprises up our sleeves. We're going to have a lot of fun. Friday has really transformed. Tamia could not make it, after all, to the ladies' event. So we had a chance to have Anna Gallman come in from California. She's a direct to Bob Gardelli, and she's built a huge group, really a lot of it in Mexico. But she is really an environmental advocate, and she's going to be teaching on Friday a little bit about environmental things that impact us, everybody. We kind of think, well, what I do here can't possibly impact somebody, in a third world country somewhere, but it does. It all ties together. So then to go along with that, we're going to build or teach people how to build their own home hydroponic system that they could, have their own fresh veggies 24 hours a day, every day of the year in a corner of their house. So that's going to be fun. Saturday, guys, I'm going to tell you, you guys hear from me. I do of course, inspirational kind of motivational calls, here and with the Team Excellence, and that's I love that. I love that part. But this is going to be intense training. So it's I'm rolling up my sleeves. Dale Carnegie, I was a trainer there. I was a trainer in the real estate industry. I'm rolling up my sleeves, and y'all can get some serious training on Saturday. I'm not the only trainer, right? But simple things like what does your elevator speech look like? And I don't call it that, by the way, but you'll know what it is by that. But, what you say to a person about your business in the first 10 seconds or 30 seconds, whatever it is completely going to determine your interaction with them. And, if I opened up the call right now and said to you guys, hey, what do you do for a living? Most of you couldn't even tell me. Or what you tell me would not make me want to hear more. I think there's something wrong with you, right? Why give people water and they feel better? What are you talking about? No, so we're really going to focus on that. We're going to focus on, you heard me talk about the how we're not dealing with, creatures of logic. So we're going to talk about how to identify the emotional trigger in every human being. So whether you need that for your business, you need that for your marriage, you need it with your children, your friends, whatever. You're going to learn how to identify the emotional triggers and how to make that work for you. It's going to be definitely boots on the ground, roll up your sleeves. Y'all better be ready to take notes. And no, it's not going to be streamed live, so you can't sit there wherever you are and feel like you're at the event, because we're not going to be allowing for that this time. And then Sunday, of course, is so powerful. We have Bill Powers giving his testimonial, and we have Romy Verdera giving the main message. And again, a couple of surprises up our sleeves. Saturday night, I'm going to do a little auction. Hey, you guys will think this is really cool if you haven't heard it. We're actually having the American flag flown over the U.S. Capitol on Saturday, October 6th, in honor of Enagic USA. So that flag is actually going to fly in a breeze in honor of our company, and we're going to be auctioning that off. So that's going to be fun. I can't tell you, it's life-changing. It's a lot of very serious training, but someone coined the phrase that it's like a leadership retreat. You're definitely going to refresh, revive, and be so fired up to go in this quarter of the year with a bang that you won't even imagine. So thank you for that. I really do appreciate everybody who prays over this. It is taking on a lot in every single way. So I do appreciate you guys being there, lifting it up in prayer. Just pray for me as I chase that lion into the pit and take him on day after day. And I look forward to seeing you here. If you guys do want more information just to see what's going on, maybe you want to see how the Louisiana Power Team transformed the barn expansion project, go to livingwatersfarmevent.com and check it out. You'll be amazed. It's a blessing beyond anything you can imagine, and y'all need to be here.
Man, there's so much information there. Okay, so how can they get there? What's the website? Let's just get them all their information so they can get set.
Okay, they'll go to livingwatersfarmevent.com. Everything you could want to know is on that site, from how it's transformed to what the schedule is to what to do while you're here, lodging and that sort of thing. Everything you could possibly need to know is there. livingwatersfarmevent.com. Guys, there are lots of options too. If you've never been this way, I do paint a picture of the farm, and it's beautiful. It's 22 acres. It's beautiful. It's not in the boonies, okay? I'm 40 miles outside of Washington, D.C., so if you've never been here, you can certainly go into Washington, D.C., make the best of the trip, right? And you can go, we're an hour to Baltimore if you like the Inner Harbor kind of stuff, where you could spit to the Appalachian Trail if you're a hiker. That we have 40-plus wineries in the county here, so there's something to do, believe me. You would really, really enjoy your time in this area. For the ticket cost, just in case you never go to the site, it's $125, and that includes breakfast, lunch on Saturday, and breakfast and an old-fashioned barbecue on Sunday. So, it's I have been marketing this, saying just the training alone would cost you thousands, and I'm not saying that to brag or anything. I'm just saying what you're getting for this event, believe me, you need to be here.
Man, you're so right. Thousands of dollars is absolutely true. Listen, we have a special guest popping up his hand this morning. He's very instrumental in what's going on, even though we're hitting the top of the hour, guys. I just want to bring out Mr. Earl. Good morning, Earl. How are you this morning, buddy?
Earl. There's my buddy. Hey, Earl.
Good morning. Good morning, Wade. Good morning. I just want to add something to all you difference makers that are listening on this call today. I can't stress enough how important it is to try to get to this event. It was so life-changing for me, I can't put it into words. Something happened when we had a church service in that barn the Sunday when I was there. When Romy Videra prayed over a gentleman or a lady, I don't remember what exactly it was, but I know that person was saved. And he turned around and looked at me and he said, I can't believe we did this in a barn. Well, something touched me. We were all sitting on hay bales in a narrow alley in the barn. God spoke to me and he said, Earl, we have to make this place where more people can fit in here and we can have more of this going on in our lives. And that's what drove me those thousands of miles there. And I'm not finished with that project. We still have work left to do. I did as much as we could with the wonderful men that came along with me. God just put them into the project. I rarely even asked them, and they volunteered to go with me, not even knowing what we're getting into. I gave them a brief rundown, and they just said, we're in. And we went there, and it was a wonderful experience. That farm touches hearts, and it touched me, and words can't even express it. You just have to be a part of it. Just go at least one time and experience this wonderful event. It's life-changing. It really is. And I want to thank Miss Lynn for making that farm belong to everybody. She tells you over and over, this isn't my place. It's everybody's place. And you feel that when you're there, you become a part of it. It gets into your soul, and it's just magnificent. So please, if there's any possible way you can make this happen in your life, please do it. It's an amazing experience. The people there, the camaraderie, the God just there. I just don't know how else to say it. It's a wonderful experience, and thank you again, Miss Lynn, for having this and letting me be a part of it. I appreciate it.
Oh my goodness, you bless me beyond any words. I'm a woman God gives words to, and I can't come up with enough words to adequately express how much I appreciate you in every single way, before and after the farm. But it's something that, you guys, you can't describe it. All I can say is people often say, well, what made you start putting the farm out there? Well, you know what? When you hear my entire story, you will understand when I say this. I look out at this farm represents hope, because when I don't even know how I'm still here when you hear my story of adversity and the lions and the pits, and you can't even imagine. And I look at it and say, look at God, that I am still here. And he says, I know, because I went through that pit, I know I surrendered the farm and said, it's not mine, God, it's all you. If you want me here, show me what to do with it. And so you can't describe it, but when you show up here, I've never heard one person that didn't say, I feel like I'm home. I've not heard one person. Yes. So you'll feel like you're home. You'll feel like you went to your grandma's house or something else. I don't know what you'll feel. But you know what? I want you all to know this, whether you make it here or not, I pray you do. But one of the things is that every day, you guys, some of you see my ministry on Facebook. I'm sharing the farm, right? I'm sharing my life and my heart from the front porch, if you will. But every single day for the past 18 years, I have prayed the boundary lines of this farm, 22.5 acres. I pray over every inch of this farm, that God would protect it and give it peace. And it's almost tangible because of it. So when you show up here, you'll feel it. Earl feels it. I'm so grateful. Guys, you miss out on so much. I can't tell you how much weeping I've done over these 4 humble servants, the sacrifices they made in every way that their families made to live without them for that time while they came up here. And so grateful to God for the work, but also for provisions to take care of these men, to protect them. And this you can't believe what they got done in a matter of days. It's unbelievable. Thank you, God. Thank you, Earl. Thank you. I'm so excited.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you, Earl, for coming. Yeah, thank you, Miss Lynn, for coming out this morning. Guys, I just want to give it to you. I mean, Lynn Gardner is absolutely one of my favorites, as you guys know. I mean it. Lynn, we love you. We thank you. And I can't wait to hear you again next month. But beforehand, I want to hear about the Living Waters of Farm event. And so thank you so much, Lynn. I'm going to open it up for everybody to thank Lynn for being here today. We love you. And again, we'll talk to you later.
Thank you so much.